A very good evening to all our viewers. Welcome to Monday's edition of the Evening Review. My name is Taiwan Jabala, your host. Let's go for a small break and come back for our interview of the day.
Si escuchas trinar mi corazón, no esperes, pregúntale con emoción cómo era mi vida sin amor, porque llega ahora la ilusión y vuela al cielo abierto. Yo he visto la luna descansar.
Tonight on the show, we are joined by an investigative journalist from South Africa, that is Mzilikazi waAfrica. He is an investigative journalist with a Sunday Independent, this Sunday newspaper there in South Africa. And we want to discuss with him, of course, about the current situation regarding allegations that there's been some theft at the farm of President Cyril Ramaphosa of South Africa by some Namibian suspects, and that the Namibian authorities were well aware of this situation from the word go. So I'll talk to Mzilikazi about that. Mzilikazi, thank you very much for making time for us.
Yeah, good evening to you and good evening to your viewers.
Wonderful. It's a tricky situation. I mean, the two nations have been talking for the first time in one tone on this issue of the alleged theft of the President Ramaphosa's farm. What is your reading of the situation so far? I mean, maybe if you can describe sort of the atmosphere in South Africa right now as far as this matter is concerned.
Yeah, so basically when it first happened on Wednesday, when the former State Security Director General Arthur Fraser went to Rosebank Police Station in Johannesburg to open criminal charges against the sitting President Cyril Ramaphosa, most people thought that it was like kind of fake, or it was not real, or it was not true, until when the presidency issued a statement admitting that indeed there was a theft at his farm in called Palapala in Bilabila in Limpopo province.
Yeah, and yeah, I mean, personally, I've heard this allegation maybe in 2020 already, because of course there was an arrest of one of the supposed suspects, and I mean, I must admit I didn't take it serious because the details were so sketchy. What has been what is your own reading? Is it because of course there are people who are saying no, these are just the typical ANC factional battles. But of course, like you said, the presidency came out and said, indeed, there's been such an incident. Your own reading of the situation so far, maybe you might have worked on some articles.
I heard about the same incident, like again in, I think around July 2020. I was driving with two people in the car, and then I received a phone call from a friend of mine from Namibia, because before the lockdown, I had promised my friend that I was coming to Namibia for the Easter holidays. So because of lockdown, then I had to cancel the trip. So as I was driving to Durban with these two people in my car, a friend of mine phoned me to say, were you coming to Namibia on holiday, or you were coming to investigate this thing? So I said, what thing? He said, no, there are these rumors that there are some Namibian guys who stole, in his word, it was 30 billion rand from your president. And I'm like, this can't be true.
Yeah, indeed. So then, is it of course, it's confirmed now that indeed there's such an incident, but do you think that the timing ahead of the elective conference of the ANC later in the year, and also given the current political situation within the ruling party itself, do you think it's both a criminal case, but maybe with also political motives?
The question is, we need to ask Arthur Fraser, when did you know about this? If it was yesterday, last week, last year, what did you do? And then if you knew about it last year, then you need to explain why did you wait until now to open. If you knew about it last week, then it makes sense that you opened the case last week. So, but for now, we don't have access to Arthur Fraser, so we don't know when exactly he knew about or he got all these facts. Again, timing is very important. So, did he time it for before the conference, if he knew out about it months, weeks before, or he just opened the case and it coincided that there's the ANC conference coming? And then again, let's ask ourselves, so if now there's something happening now, I must not open a case until I must wait for December before I open the case. Is that the way we should behave or handle ourselves? Of if there is a case right now, I must report it about it right now and get the law enforcement agencies deal up with it right now. So the question is the balances of the two forces. Must I wait or must I report it? Again, is it wrong to report it now? Was it going to be better if it's reported early next year? So those are the things that we should ask ourselves. But one other thing that is important is this: what did Arthur Fraser say? Did Arthur Fraser say there was a crime here? I'm reporting a crime. I've got nothing. It has nothing to do with politics. So those are the two things that we need to unpack and understand. But then again, we need to know from Arthur Fraser or his legal team, when exactly did he get this information, all of it?
And just that on that, Mzilikazi, what seems to be the issue here? Is it that because I've seen some people saying, but you know, the president is the victim actually of robbery or theft here, and we are demonizing him, and others are saying, but there seems to have been a cover-up of what transpired for this or that, or the other reason. Your own reading of the situation, what seems to be the real issue here as far as the Arthur Fraser's affidavits is concerned?
4 or 5 issues here. Like, number one is that the president failed to report his theft at any police station. That's number one. Number two is that the suspects were apprehended and then allegedly given 150,000 rand to keep quiet about this thing. And number three is that if indeed the president kept so much money in his house, at his farm, he needs to explain where did the money come from? Why was it in the house at that point in time? Why didn't bank it? Did he declare it to our customs or revenue authority? And then again, number 4 is that if indeed his head of security came to Namibia to come and interrogate one of the suspects who was in Namibia at the time, why it was not reported again to the Namibian authority? Why was this thing kept under hush-hush? What was the secrets? What was so important that this thing had to be kept as a secret to the public? If the president hasn't done anything wrong, why didn't just open the case? There are a lot of people who have been arrested in Namibia and South Africa and all of that when they have committed crime. Why those channels were not followed? Why was it this one needed a special channel and it was not reported to the relevant authorities?
And the general expectation, what are you picking up from the South African public in general to say, if this is some sort of cross-border issue? I mean, you just mentioned the head of security of your president having come here as alleged in the Fraser affidavits. That what do South Africans expect from Namibia in terms of maybe collaboration, in terms of giving as much as possible information to South African authorities, or is it perceived to be an exclusive South African matter?
I think right now, honestly speaking, there won't be any investigation. Right now, there will be a cover-up. If the authority both in South Africa and Namibia wanted really to investigate this issue will have been investigated in 2020 when it happened. Right now, what they are going to do is to cover up who knows what, shut them up, silence them. Because if they really wanted to investigate this thing in fairness and openly, the public should have been informed about it from day one. The day when the Namibian authority knew about it, or when they received the request that someone from South Africa is coming looking for a suspect who stole money from the president of South Africa, they should have issued a press statement or call a press conference or be open about it. Let the public know that we are helping South African authority because one of our own is allegedly involved in a robbery at the house of the president of South Africa. So they are open about it, but there was a lot of secrecy. There was a lot of dealings behind the scenes, which we can only speculate what might have happened or what happened or what we think happened. But then again, the president, our president, yet even though he's acknowledged the theft, but he's keeping mum about a lot of things. Like last week, I sent them a list of questions. They refused to answer them. So until some of those questions are answered, that's when we'll know exactly what indeed happened.
Yeah. And the African National Congress, the ruling party itself, of course, President Ramaphosa is also the president of the party. How has the party reacted to this thing? Have they pronounced themselves publicly, or the only word to have come out of the ANC corridors are the words of the president himself?
For now, as far as I haven't seen any statement from the ANC as the party, but all we have seen is the statement from the president and also his address yesterday at the ANC provincial conference where he said his hands are clean on this issue. So the party itself has not issued a statement as far as I can tell right now. I haven't seen it online or everything. I'm also on the some of the WhatsApp group where some of the members of ANC are in. Everyone is also asking the same question: when is the party issuing a statement about it? Then again, other people will say, but this is a private issue, it's got nothing to do with the party. It just happened that the victim, because here the president is a victim of theft, happens to be the president of the party. So he must deal with it in a private way because it happened in a private game reserve. It didn't happen at the ANC headquarters at the Tula House in Johannesburg.
One more question before we go on a break, Mzilikazi, is how serious do you think this matter is as far as President Ramaphosa's own position in the party or even as head of state is? I mean, we've seen his predecessors leaving office unceremoniously because of allegations of abuse of power or stuff like that. How serious is this one in the context of the president himself?
For now, it is a serious allegation against the president until the president can take the nation into confidence, telling us exactly where did he get the money, if we can be sure that that's exactly where he got the money from. Because we are talking about a lot of money. And again, why was the money in foreign currency? You know, so did whoever brought this money into this country, did they declare them at custom? Can we see those declarations? Because those are some of the questions that I asked, to see the declaration of the people who brought the money. Who are they? Did they declare the money to our customs? And if it's legit, it's fine, then we are happy. But for now, like I'm saying, until we know the real fact around this money, we'll still have suspicions, and it will look very like a damning allegations against our president until he can prove himself innocent. For right now, he stands as accused in this case, so he needs to prove himself innocent for us by taking us into confidence and showing us that there was nothing wrong with this money.
Indeed. Mzilikazi, we go for a quick break and then revert back. We continue our conversation with South African investigative journalist Mzilikazi waAfrica. Mzilikazi, the Twitter this afternoon was blowing up because there's an opinion piece published in the Times by columnist Justice Malala, where he seemed to suggest that Cyril Ramaphosa must be protected at all costs, because if the opposing faction was to succeed in getting him out of power and regain power to rule the country, South Africa will be in trouble. I suppose linking everything to the Zuma era, when there seems to have been a lot of issues. Maybe to pick your brain on that.
My issue with that is that if someone is a criminal, it doesn't matter which faction they belong to, they must go to jail. Whether they are Zuma's allies, whether they are Cyril Ramaphosa's allies, they must simply go to jail to show that we have a rule of law in this country. So we cannot say, like, if someone is caught with his pants down, we must protect him by all means, because if he goes down, the roof is going to stumble and fall. The issue is we need to say, where's the rule of law? So if someone has broken the law, let the law take its course, regardless. You see, if we continue taking issues by factions and all of that, that's not the law. The law is not supposed to have eyes. The law is not supposed to say Mzilikazi is a friend of so and so, and therefore we cannot touch him right now. Let him continue enjoying this thing. If I have broken the law, don't look at my political affiliation or my political faction. Take me as a criminal and treat me as a criminal until then. So as long as we treat people because of faction, because of who they belong to, who they're friends with, we are not dealing with law. We are dealing with the political ambitions, political protections, political cover. We need to take, the NPA is independent, our National Prosecuting Authority, they are independent. Let them do their job. If they think that the president has a case to answer, let them pronounce that. They are not a political organization. They are supposed to be independent. If police were supposed to be independent, if they look at the Arthur affidavit and they believe that there's something wrong that the president has done, let them investigate it. They must not look at, oh, there's an ANC conference coming, or there's this coming. This one is is about to stand to be the president of the party. The police have got nothing to do with the ANC. They're the police who are supposed to make sure that law is not broken. The National Prosecuting Authority, they're not a political party. They're an independent body who's supposed to pronounce if they're happy with the police investigation that someone has broken the law. Let us do that. Let us not meddle into political meddling. Let us look at issues independently outside of politics. If someone is found guilty, let us remove their political position, their political affiliation, their political faction. Let us look at the crime committed and deal with the crime committed instead of their political affiliation and political faction.
Yeah. And is it, if this was to be proven later, of course investigations are ongoing now, we don't know how far they will go, as much as there's doubt whether they will be fully realized, given, of course, the person that is implicated is a very, very powerful person, given his current position in both the ruling party and the country. But if it was to come to that conclusion that indeed the president was indulged in any criminal activities, whether it's money laundering or whatever it is, will that, how big a disappointment would that be? Because, people thought in South Africa that President Ramaphosa is a radical departure from President Zuma in terms of transparency, in terms of that statesmanship sort of posture. how big a disappointment would it be if he is found to have criminally indulged in those activities?
It will be the biggest disappointment to a lot of people, more especially people who have supported him in his journey to be where he is as the president of the country, because they've put their hopes on him that he's the man who's supposed to come up and clean up the mess from the previous administration or regime or whatever. So a lot of people have put hopes on him as a savior of South Africa. A lot of people are believing that he's coming to mop up. So if then the person that we have put our hopes to, that is coming here to clean up, is coming to mop up, is going to make us shine as a country again, is now found wanting, it's a big disappointment to anyone. It's not only his political enemies are going to celebrate, but even his closest friends are going to be very disappointed about this.
Yeah, indeed. Mzilikazi, I appreciate your time, my brother. Thank you very much for your time and for your valuable input.
Thank you very much for having me. Thank you very much.
Wonderful. That is the evening review for tonight. Thank you for watching and good night.